Yeah. So this is a standard way of getting output on the screen. So previously we don't have any GUI when we introduced C++. We used to work with the console input output. See, I don't know how many of you worked. So we used to work with Turbo C. Turbo C is a software or a platform where we used to work with the C programming. So there will be a blue screen. When you execute your program, you will get output in the black screen. So it is a standard input output. That is somewhat we call it as console input output. In C++ also, we are going to use console input output. So C++, the console output is going to be the standard format of getting the output on the screen. So here the console output will be taken using a object or a keyword called cout. Cout. So you can see here, cout is the keyword or the object which we are going to use to get the output on the screen. Get the output on the screen or monitor, whatever you call it. And along with cout, we are going to use this left shift operators. Left shift operators. So it will work as a insertion operator in C++. It will work as an insertion operator in C++. It will work as an insertion operation in C++. Say for example, if you want to write cout in C++, you need to write like cout insertion operator, whatever data you want to print. Cout insertion operator or left shift operator, whatever data you want to print. And in order to access your console input output or input output functions in C++, we are going to use the header file called iostream.h. iostream.h, which is similar to stdio.h in your C programming. So this is nothing but stdio.h in your C programming, whereas C++ it is iostream.h, whereas in Java it is import java.io.star. So that means header files are mandatory in almost all the languages which we are using for the real-time purpose or real-time application development. The only difference is how we are going to call them. That is the difference, right? So here we don't require any kind of format specifiers. You don't need to mention any format. So directly you can use cout left shift operator or insertion operator, whatever content you want to print. Now you can see here an example, cout. So what is the data you want to print? Cout, what is the value you want to print? Cout, what is the variable value you want to print? You can also use multiple left shift operators or multiple insertion operators. See, left shift operator in C programming, insertion operator in C++. Say for example, if I have multiple statements to combine, cout insertion operator, what is the statement? Insertion operator, what is the statement? Insertion operator, what is the statement? Like this you can. At the same time, if you want to call the variable also, you can call the variable. So cout I am age is a variable here. Again, it is a statement, years old, and my zip code is a variable. So how we are identifying it is a variable? Because there is no double quotes. Directly I am calling the variable here. When you are calling values and variables, no need to put the double quotes. Let us assume if age equals to 30, zip code is 586101, then your output is going to be I am 30 years old and my zip code is 586101, right? So like this, we are going to use cout statement. And if you want to print the cout, multiple cout statements, then if you print like this, if you print multiple statements like this, you will get like a single line statements as usual in your C programming also. What we need to do, either you can use break operator, either as a slash n, right, break statement or break at the end, either as a slash n or end l. End l. End l is nothing but end of the line. End of the line. You can see here. So first sentence, I put the slash n. Second sentence, slash n. Third sentence. Now what is going to happen? It's going to break first sentence, then second sentence, then comes the third sentence. Suppose if you want to use end l, please remember it is going to work as an additional object. It is going to work as an additional object, whereas here it is a break statement. That's it. It's just a break statement. Like slash n is a break statement. It will work. Whereas here, if you want to use end l, then what you need to do? Cout insertion operator. What is the statement? Then insertion operator followed by the end l. Insertion operator followed by the end l. Right. So now you can see cout first sentence endl, cout second sentence endl, and so on. How many statements you want to give, you can give. Or you can also combine multiple statements and then put endl in the middle. So you are going to get the output, right? So this is what console output. What is cout in C++? See, if you want to compare your C programming here, so cout is nothing but your scanf statement. Cout is nothing but your scanf statement. Cin is nothing but your printf statement. Cout is nothing but scanf. Cin is nothing but printf. So let me just go here. See, I have not installed C++. I'm just showing in the online compiler because no need to install. You have n number of online compilers. Now you can see.
Sir,
this
cout is printf.
Sorry.
Sir, cout is printf, right?
Cout is printf. Cin is sorry. I'm telling reverse. Okay, cout is printf. Cin is scanf. Cout is printf and Cin is scanf. Thank you. Now I'll just show you how to write the C++ program. So as usual, we are going to use header file hash include iostream.h. So either see, this is online compiler, they have not used .h. Whether you use it or not, it's up to you, because if you use a graphical user interface like CloudBlocks, no need to include header files also. Then we have a statement called using namespace std. Can any one of you tell me what is this? Any idea what is this using namespace std? Those who studied C++, any idea what is this using namespace std? I think someone studied C++, right? Someone is telling in the last before class or sometime.
Sir, it is.
Yes, madam. Go ahead.
As far as I know, it's used for identifiers.
Identifiers. Any other answer? It's a kind of identifier.
Sir, it is used for declarative.
Declarative. What is declarative?
Like types of functions, variables, declaring variables and functions.
Okay. 50% correct. Any other answer? All right. So let me tell you what is this. See, using namespace std is nothing but it's the standard namespace which we are going to use. See, usually what will happen in C++ programming is, so whenever I want to call any function, whenever I want to call any statement, whenever I want to call any constructor, whenever I want to call any destructor, I need to call the namespace separately. Actually, I should write cout as std followed by cout. This is how I should write. So if I want to call cin functionality, or if I want to call some function, let's say for a function std colon add of a comma b. So this is how I need to write, because every time I need to mention what is the standard I'm going to use. So in order to avoid this, I'm going to use using namespace std. If you ask me personally, is it mandatory to write? It's not mandatory. So default it is going to take it, because when we study constructors and destructors in the third module, when we study constructors and destructors, you come to know about it, much about it. So why we use this one is, whatever I'm going to write after this statement, as Miss Pujita mentioned, either functions, statements, constructors, destructors, whatever it is, whatever I'm going to write will come under this particular standard namespace. So we are telling that use all standard statements or standard functionalities in C++. That's it, right? So now, so as usual, either you can use void main or int main. So depending on whether you have returning variable or not. If you have the returning variable, so go for the int main. If you don't have, then go for the void. So now we have written the main function, then cout hello world. Now you can see here. So it's going to print whatever we have written in the cout. Whatever we have written in the cout, it will be printing. So this is how C++ programming is going to be. This is how C++ programming is going to be. So this is a very, I'm just showing the structure of C++ program. Right? So same like your header files in C programming, followed by the main function, followed by your statements. At the last, this is up to us whether we need to write or not. So depending on the program, right? So this is what cout is all about. Then we'll go for the cin. So as I said, so console input. Previously it is console output. It is console input, as it is pronounced as cin. Cin, right? So cin is a keyword which we are going to use in a C++ programming. So there we use left shift operator. Here we are going to use right shift operator. There it is left shift. It is here right shift operator, and it is also called as extraction operator. That is insertion operator. This is extraction operator. Please remember all these points because they'll ask you for 6 marks or 10 marks. Explain about console input and output. Explain about console input and output. So you should remember each and every point to write in your exam. That's why I'm just stressing once again couple of times on this. So how to write cin? So cin, right shift operator or extraction operator followed by the content. So here also same thing. The header file for this one is iostream.h. As usual, it does not specify any kind of format specifiers. No need to mention whether it is public, private or anything. Nothing you need to specify. So here you can see, so initially we defined a variable called ace. So if you want to read the ace from the user side, so directly you can say like cin ace. So or if you want multiple variables you want to call cin right shift operator or extraction operator followed by the variables. So like this you need to give example also in your exam. Now let me go with this example instead of showing me hello world example which I have shown now. So let me go with this. So this is how your C++ program is going to be, as I said. So now we will see this is sum of two variables, how we are going to write the entire program. So initially I'm calling header file hash include iostream.h followed by the main function. See, most of the times it is a best practice that we will use int function, int main in C++. Reason behind it is when you are developing real-time applications, most of the times you will be having something to write. So that's why we are going to use int main. So because here nothing we are doing, just practice purpose we are taking, we are showing void main. But is the best practice, we will do int main. Now variable declaration as usual like your C programming, int n1 comma n2. Now what we need to get? We need to get two variables. So cout enter two numbers and cin n1 cin n2. So variable can be declared anywhere in C program like C programming in C++. No restriction on variable declaration. Either you declare at the first, either you declare at the last, either you declare at the middle, wherever you want. You can make use of it. Then sum equals to n1 plus n1 plus n2. Then cout, the sum is sum. See here you need to observe the difference. So when I want to write in cout sum statement, I'll use double quotes. When I want to call this variable, I'm not using any kind of quotes. Then end line. This is also one of the best practice you should do in C programming. What is the best practice? Every time write the end line. So what will happen here when you write end line? What will happen? So the system or compiler will come to know about it, saying that yes, so this is the end of the line. So it is not going to waste the space. Let me check whether it will execute because it has taken some spaces. Okay. It is asking there is no header file because it's an online compiler. What is the error again? What is the error? You can also answer, nothing wrong. Why it is taking error? Any idea? Anybody? What is the error? Still some error. What is the error? Previously I corrected. Anybody? Error we correct.
First Rafi's.
Right?
Double.
Double quotes. Why it is showing error in the double quotes?
One double quotes was there, sir. One single quote was there, sir.
No, wrong. Both are double quotes only.
They were different.
Different in the sense?
Inverted commas or any other.
No inverted commas, nothing in that. See whether it will execute. Still any errors? Still errors. We are not declared in the scope.
Let's
Why
see
you-
it's
Sorry?
sir, semicolon is missing after that get scan.
Where? Here.
Yes, sir.
No issues. Still it is showing some error.
Sir, endl after cout first statement.
Not really required. It is not mandatory, but we will write it as a best practice. Still some error. Is there? Only one error or so many errors are there?
Sir,
so many
for
errors.
getch we should use conio.h, right?
We need to use conio.h. Okay, I'll also include that. Sorry. Hash include still will try. So it is not accepting conio directly. iOS team only it will come, no problem. So what is the error still? We'll do one thing. Let me just I think it will be there. Oh, it has closed. One second. Okay. So we'll do one thing. We'll just write same program here. So I want all of you to observe here because these are the few things you need to run in the real time. In your C programming, I don't know what you have learned. Just scanf error or in console IO error or something. So we'll see here. So I'm just declaring two variables int n1 comma n2, right? So I'm writing cout statement saying that enter two variables n1 and n2, right? Closing it. Cin n1, Cin n2. Going wrong somewhere, please let me know. Hoping that all of you are with me, I'm just doing this. Now I'm declaring one more variable in sum. So initially I'm just assigning it to 0. sum equals to n1 plus n2. So how to print it? Cout means sum. Is this correct now? Any mistakes or any changes? All are here or doing some other work? Is it correct? Or any mistake?
Yes, sir.
Correct. So let us try now. So 10, 12. All right. Now see why I have showed this one. I'll tell you. See what is the difference between this one and which we copied. I think that program is here now. Yeah. What is the difference between this one and that one?
A written statement was there at the last, but here get character was there.
But here I use void main. There it is int main. That's why I'm using it. If it is int main, we need to use return statement. That's it. Get char is not mandatory statement, of course.
There are two
Programming wise, what
different.
is the difference?
One is namespace wasn't mentioned and one is sum wasn't initialized.
Sorry.
There are two differences. One is namespace wasn't there in the previous program and sum wasn't initialized.
Okay, let us try with that also. So this is where we are going to get the error. Hope everyone understanding what I'm talking. Just to show you, we are practicing this, not just to waste the time. Right? So what is happening here is when I'm not using namespace std, because I'm not mentioning whether it is coming under standard input output or what kind of output or what kind of object, so it is not taking. But here once I mention that, it is going to execute my program. It's going to execute my program. See, when you are correcting the errors in your program, you should not always think that my program is wrong. There are sometimes there is a possibility that the main statement might be wrong or some statement we need to include also. So most of the times whenever we'll get error, what we will do? Immediately my program is wrong. No, your program is correct, but here I missed out this. So when I missed out this, obviously I'm getting the error. And sometimes one more thing you need to understand, when you copy paste the program, the double quotes, when you copy paste it, the double quotes are not like this. That is the reason it is not accepting initially. So what is the initial correction I have done is double quotes. So the double quotes here is different. The quotes which I copied is different. So that's why it's not accepting. Now hope everyone understood what is the importance of namespace std. So when you mention namespace std, you won't get any errors with respect to standard input and outputs, right? Now let us see. Okay, so this is about the in and cout, console input and console output. So any doubts or any questions, please ask. We'll go for the next topic. Or is it clear?
Clear, sir.
Yeah, I'm just going slowly because there will be fast learners or quick learners. There will be slow learners. So both of them I need to manage. But I want to give maximum knowledge about object-oriented concepts. We have ample time. Don't worry about it. We'll slowly. Sorry, we'll go slowly and then we'll understand. So let us go for the next topic. And this I want so much of interaction. Already you know about this. Reference variables. Right. Let me just close this. If it is there, you will answer immediately. So what is reference variables? You studied in your C program, right? What is reference variables? What is reference variable? Come on, guys. Hello, fourth ISC. All are there? What is reference variables?
It's nothing but a reference to an already existing variable.
Very good. Very good. That is the exact answer. See, when I have a variable called n1, or when I have a variable called a, when I have a variable called p, if I want to get the reference of that variable, then we'll go for the reference variables. Why we need reference variables? Why we need reference variables?
It becomes easy to maybe edit the data, the original.
Because easy to edit the data, might not be. Abhishek is sent points to another variable. Very good. Answer is correct. So why we require reference variables? Any other answers? Why what Tina said is correct. It is a reference to the existing variable. It is called reference variable. Why we require reference variable? Right. So let me just go through it and let me explain you what exactly it is all about. So as Tina said, a reference variable is nothing but a reference for an existing variable. It is a reference for an existing variable. So what it is going to share, it is not going to share the value. It is going to share the memory location, that is the address. That is the address of the variable. Now what is going to happen is, once you take the reference variable, you will be having multiple variables to access in a program. No need to disturb main variable. You can use a reference variable wherever it is required. Then main variable remains same. So why we will do like that is, say for example, in your real-time example, when you are working with a program, you want to share the same program with 100 members. If any of the member deletes the original value, then you will be under trouble. So in order to avoid that, we are going to use the reference variables. So how to declare reference variables? Again, it is data type followed by the ampersand symbol followed by the reference variable name equals to existing variable name. Say for example, so the existing variable is float total equals to 100. The reference variable for this total is float ampersand sum equals to total. So if you are the owner of the program, either you use total or you use the sum. No matter, like there is no change. Provides new name to existing variable. Okay. So either you use this variable or you use this reference variable, doesn't make much difference if you are the owner of the program. Suppose if you want to share your program with so many people, it is better to share the reference variable than the original variable. Now what is going to happen if something goes wrong with the reference variable? Don't worry. So let them delete, no issues, but it is not going to directly affect the main variable. In the same concept we will study in the database management system also. In database management system, when you want to work on the real-time applications, we are going to create one master database. For every master database, we are going to create one replica of the database. So whenever we are going to work with the replicas. Then we will work in the master. Take for example, again your what you call Google Drive. So the Google Drive from the morning till midnight 12 o'clock will be working on the temporary server. After 12 o'clock, it will do all the changes whatever you have made to your Google Drive to the main server. Now there are two servers. One is main server, next one is temporary server. The main server is going to get the original data in a stipulated time, either 5 hours once or 6 hours once, 10 hours once. So once it is done, your data is secure. If something goes wrong with the temporary server where you are accessing, so no need to worry, entire your data is secure. That's why companies will say, hey, your data is secure. How banks are telling that? Your banks also telling that. Or take the best example which you are doing in your day-to-day life, WhatsApp. When you install WhatsApp or go to settings, it will ask, do you want me to take backup every day, the weekly ones, monthly ones? Never. So what does it mean? So it is going to take one backup of the data and keep it ready for you. If something goes wrong, we can fetch back the data. If you are buying a new mobile phone, so if you install WhatsApp there in the new mobile phone, it will ask, do you want to restore old items? Where is that old items residing? So same way in our programming, when you want to have one backup, when you want to work with the reference variables, you can work with the reference variables like this, right? So the ampersand symbol which we are going to use. Now we will see a couple of examples how these reference variables will really help us in C++ programming. So as usual, I'm writing iostream.h main function. I'm creating a variable called x. I'm assigning some value to the x, and I'm also printing the value of x. Now I'm creating a reference variable for x, that is ampersand iref equals to x, and I'm changing the value of iref to 20. I'm changing the value of iref to 20. I'm printing the value of x here, and I'm incrementing the x++. So it is nothing but your iref also will increase, and I'm printing iref. Please go through this program once again. So I'm just calling a variable called x. I'm assigning some value of 10. I'm printing that. Then I'm calling a variable reference variable iref. I'm assigning the x value, and I'm changing the iref value to 20. Now, so I'm just printing the x value. I'm incrementing x value, that is iref++. Then I'm printing the iref value. So what is the output here? What would be the output? What is the output of this program? Hope you know post increment, pre increment. So what is the output? So what is the value of x here initially?
10.
10. Because we have not done any changes, it is 10. Now what is the iref value?
20.
20. So here in this statement. In this statement, if I take iref value, what is the value?
10.
10.
10. Because we have not done any change. We just taken x and we are storing it. So here iref value is 20.
20.
Now what is the value of x here?
20.
10.
10 or 20?
20.
10.
10, sir.
10. So some people are telling 10, some people are telling 20. Okay, let us see that. So what is the value of here x now? So those who said 10, it is 11. Those who said 20, it is 21. It is 21, right? Am I correct?
Yes, sir.
Yes. So now at last we are printing the iref value. Now we will see what is the output of this. Sorry. So what is the output?
21.
20 and 21. How? I am not talking about this output. I just leave it.
First, C out will be X value will initialize it to I reference noses, so it will be 20, and by last statement we'll get 21. Like it will be incremented. So
Okay, fine. Thank you. So that means whenever we are using reference variables, as I said, you can give it to anybody. You can give it to anyone. Whatever modification they want to do, let them do it. But if you execute same program here, the value remains same. X value remains same. It will be 10 only. But here, once the program has been modified in some other portion with respect to reference variable, it is going to take the change of the value, but not with the original value. So the main intention of showing this program is, if you treat this one as a main program and this is as a reference program which is given to everyone, maybe 100 users, 1000 users, or 1 lakh users, whatever changes you want to do, they want to do it, let them do it. It will affect only in this reference variable program, not in the main program, right? So this is how reference variables is going to work. Let us take one more example. So we are going to see 3 to 4 examples just for your understanding. Right. So please go through this example and tell me what is the output. I want all of you to observe and tell me the output. What is the output? If you have pen and paper, please work it out and tell me. Or if you are well versed with programming, you can do it in the your CPU of your brain. I mean your body. That is brain. Those who are sleeping, please wake up and see to it and tell me what is the answer. Still doing.
Ten and 11.
10 and 11, sir.
10 and 11. Any other answers? Two people said 10 and 11. Any other answers from anybody?
Might be only 11.
Might be 11. Let us see the answer, then we'll discuss what it is going. All right. So 10 and 11.
I
So
said
can anyone
it.
of you explain to your friends how it is 10 and 11?
Initially X was 10, and when they used the increment at the end, it became 11.
Okay. See yes, thank you. So what he said is correct. Initially the value is 10 and when incremented 11. So the main motto of writing this program is initially we have taken a variable called x and y. I have assigned x value with 10. I have created a reference variable for x. For this reference variable, I am assigning the value to y. So that means here you need to understand the reference variables can also be assigned to the another variables. The reference variables can also be assigned to the another variables if required in the program. So now the reference variable has been assigned to a variable called y. The reference variable has been assigned to a variable called y, and I'm just printing the y value. So as usual, I'm incrementing the y plus plus. I mean y value has been incremented. So one thing you need to observe here is once I assign the iref value to the y, if I do any changes to y, it is not going to affect either iref or x, because the reference variable address we are storing for x, but not the value. But here I am storing the value to the another variable. So now what is going to happen? Whatever modifications you do for y will be reflected only for y, not for the x and iref, because there is nothing to do with x and iref once you assign that variable to the new variable. Thank you. Those who have worked out and said the answer, thank you. Hope you understand. So you can see 2 points you need to observe here is, first thing, you can assign reference variable to another variable, and if you do some changes on the new variable, it is not going to affect either reference variable or the old variable from where we have taken the reference. Yeah, so go through this program. So this is similar to that. Instead of direct variables, we are using the functions. So how we can pass the reference variables in the functions. Already you studied in C programming like call by reference, call by value. Call by reference and call by value. See, anybody is having any doubt, please ask. Don't simply don't simply sit like that. Class is for everyone. So many answers is coming in chat box. I didn't see. Sorry for that. So Mansi, Bhumika, Sumit, Abhishek, so many people they replied. So the problem with the Teams is if I connect this and go back to Teams, check the answers, come back. So there is the disturbance. So that's fine. Okay, fine. I'll check in the mobile phone. Thank you. All right. So you can see here, I'm creating a header file. I'm creating a function called increment int ampersand. So initially I'm not declaring any value. I'm just telling that there is a reference variable, right? So where I'm just passing one formal argument saying that there is a reference. There is a preference. I'm not telling what is that reference. So this is a global function declaration. It is a global function declaration. Then I'm writing the main function. So in the increment, I'm passing the x, right? So when I pass the x, as it has to take the reference, we are mentioning that as a ampersand r. So that means for the x, r is going to be the reference variable now. And whatever activity you want to perform under this, you can perform. Whatever activity you need to perform under this, you can perform, right? Any doubt in this?
No, sir.
No,
Okay.
sir.
All right, thank you. So go through this program. I want someone to explain this apart from one who explained previously. I think Dharnir, next person. Or you want me to call by name? I'll call. Yeah, Ashish, I'll show you. Just go through this. I'll show you the previous program. Anybody? How we got that output?
In this program, we don't have any incrementation.
So we don't have any implementation. So what is this program is all about? At least you explain that. Nobody is there in the meeting except one or two. So many are there. See, unless you speak, you will never learn. That is for sure. Those who are speaking, surely they'll get advantage when they go for interviews and all. Those who are not speaking, those who just want to listen or just enjoying the other part of it, it's up to you. I won't pressurize any time, but still, I'm telling because this is one of the subject very useful for your interview. Otherwise, I'm least bothered to tell you. Anybody? Can you explain this program? What is this?
The output is 10 and minus 1 because they have used where they have initiated r equals to larger of x comma y.
So what is the purpose of this program? Leave the output. Don't worry about the output. Some output will get it. What is the purpose of this program? What we want to convey from this program?
Finding the largest of two numbers.
Mhm. So as per our reference variable concept, what we are doing here. See, in the previous program, if you observe, I said we are creating one function and then we are passing the variable to the function in the reference format. What is this? Right. So it is also same like function. So the only thing is when you want to pass multiple variables, for an referential function. See, previously here, the function is not a referential function. It is a common function, normal function. But here the function itself is a referential function. So when I call this large of x comma y, it is going to take the reference of this in this particular activity. So that means my intention is not to show you what this output. Intention is how you can create referential functions in the program. So either you can create referential variables or referential functions using the referential variables. So whichever is required as per your requirement. Right? So let me just go. Ashish is asking first program. If I'm not wrong, this one, Ashish. I'll share this material. Don't worry. You can practice these programs also at your home for exam purpose. Because that is also very important. All right. So it's almost 10:50. Other class will be waiting for you. So thanks for joining. So this is about the referential variables. So next class we'll be having 5 to 10 minutes question and answer session. Then we'll continue with the function prototyping. So hope everyone understood what I have explained here. So I come to know whether you understood or not in the next class. Right. So thanks for joining. We'll meet in the next